Ma'am, you stole, you got caught. This is not a personal tragedy. This is consequence to your action. Hey y'all, I'm Shauna. Welcome in or welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another day of VLOGMAS. Today, we are going to be talking about a bit of a piece of TikTok news. There was a story that happened about a week ago, around the time that I'm filming a week ago, about a TikToker. And we're going to be talking about it today, not because I care about the drama or any of that. The point of talking about this story is to talk about the realities that we see online and how we can be comparing our lives to other people who aren't living the lives that they are portraying. So we are talking about this story to talk about influence and in ways overconsumption as well. Now, I would ordinarily say when we're talking about a specific influencer to, leave them alone. If you don't like their content, don't engage with them. Like, don't go commenting on their channel talking about how much you don't like them. That is true. This is not your invitation to harass or bully anybody. However, she has turned off the comments for all of her content. So that's not possible. Still worth the reminder though, because she could turn them on at any time. Now let me talk about her content and kind of set the scene a little bit so I can talk about what happened, and then we can talk about influencer culture. So the influencer in question is a TikToker, Marlena, and she has 400,000 followers on TikTok, and she makes a lot of daily vlog kind of content. She has 2 kids. She's a stay-at-home mom. She features her kids in a lot of her videos. She makes regular influencer content, which I kind of hate to say that this is regular influencer content, because regular influencer content these days has a lot of shopping in it, a lot of promotion of stuff. But I'm saying regular content because her average content is not egregious acts of overconsumption, like, we've seen with some other creators. In one of her videos, she wanted to spend quality time with her daughter, so she took her to TJ Maxx. One of, I think, the more problematic videos she did was an evacuation for Hurricane Milton. Her caption wasn't "evacuate with me," but it was that was the vibes it was giving, was "evacuate with me." And she showed the outfits that she was packing for her kids. It was like a pack with me. Just, I feel like using newsworthy events to capitalize on them, to be honest. So that's what that felt like. So she isn't totally, just average influencer behavior, because that one felt a little bit sus, but not the topic of today's conversation. So I've set the scene for you. I've shown you her content, what she normally does. About a week ago, she was arrested for stealing $500 worth of merchandise from Target. Let's watch a TikTok that explains the story.
An influencer was arrested after flaunting stolen goods to her 300,000 followers on TikTok. 22-year-old Marlena Velez took $500 worth of items to the self-checkout at a Target and scanned them with a fake barcode that listed them at cheaper prices. Police posted surveillance images of Velez online, which led to an anonymous tip to Marlena's socials, where they found her flaunting the items that she'd stolen to her hundreds of thousands of followers. Cops identified and later brought her into custody on charges of petty.
Went to Target and used a fake barcode, which to me, it sounds like what she did was bring it with her and was scanning these fake barcodes. I don't know how she would have pulled that off if she was doing stuff that was already in her cart and didn't keep it. And just the way that this story and others have made it sound was that she brought these barcodes with her. So she scanned these barcodes that made all of her items cheaper than what they were. So she bought them technically, but it's also stealing because you're not paying for what you bought. There's some premeditation there, and in my opinion, even if she was scanning stuff in her cart, like alternatives or double scanning or things like that, that's also a level of premeditation, like bringing those things with you to the self-checkout, and also going to the self-checkout suggests some premeditation, also suggests not her first rodeo. I think it's much more common for people to start off with smaller items and smaller quantities of goods build up over time. instead of starting right off the bat with 500. So I think it's fairly likely that she's done this previously. So her image was posted, like the CCTV images were posted online, and then somebody who has consumed her content tipped off the police department that it's this person, and she was hauling the stuff that she bought on her TikTok. Like, she was wearing the same outfit in the CCTV footage. So because she vlogged this theft, essentially, she got caught. I think she would have eventually, like, even if she didn't, the police would have done the investigating and found her, because they were already looking for her, not necessarily somebody tipping off the police and then them like surveilling her. She was already, like, they were already searching for her. This is an absolutely wild thing to do, to steal and to vlog it all, essentially. I don't really want to speculate about why she did it or why she stole. We'll talk a little bit more about her influence and her more recent content at the end. An influencer's job is to influence, and they are quite often the product of the product. And in order to influence people's lives, their life needs to look a certain way, but not just that. Like, if influencers want to sell you on stuff, like we see all the time about Amazon containers, if they want to sell you the Amazon containers, their fridge needs to be a product of the product. They need to have the aesthetic fridge for you to want to emulate, for you to see as goals. They need to have the aesthetic inspiration, but also the lifestyle inspiration for you to both aspire to, inspire you, and try to achieve yourself, often with buying products, but that's not inherently always always influencing, because we could still want their lifestyles even without them selling them stuff. The selling the stuff is just kind of like the icing on the cake for them, I think. And her life looks wealthy and aesthetic on screen. It looks this way for us to want to emulate and think certain ways about her. So many of us compare our lives to influencers, that our lives don't look like this, or we want our lives to look like that without ever knowing what their lives actually look like, because we do get this really curated version of life. And this is something that many of us acknowledge. This is not a unique opinion from me. But I think what we have here, what this is an example of to me more than anything, is an example in real time where we have evidence that suggests that somebody's life is not what they are portraying it to be. You can know that all you want, but without knowing what the life behind the screen looks like, it can be difficult to know what it looks like, and we can let our assumptions about what their life is, we can let those win. Because this isn't all about her, this is about influencers generally, I think there are so many ways that we can compare our lives to others beyond just wealth. Somebody can be filming a day in the life vlog and we can say, wow, her room, like her house looks so neat. But if we're only filming in, let's say, 2 out of 5 rooms, the other 3 rooms, they could be messy. She could have just tidied in order to make the video, but would not have tidied if she wasn't making the video. She features her kids a lot, so people can say, wow, her kids are so well behaved. Well, she's not filming temper tantrums. We could say, wow, her and her husband, they seem like a really nice couple, but she's not filming their fights. She's not filming their disagreements. I'm not suggesting that her or anybody do this. What I am saying is that we don't get the complete picture, and it is hard to imagine what the complete picture looks like, and without it, we can assume and fill in the blanks with what we are seeing and assume that that is what her life looks like all the time. She has a curated life, and I think sometimes, even if we know that, we might not think about or consider all of the nuances to that. Like, she is choosing what she films, but she is also choosing how she represents herself. She's choosing how she looks like. She is choosing the cuts of her video, what she cleans, in what order, how her family is portrayed. Her videos are cut and trimmed to look exactly like that. Same with my videos. She's not an outlier here. I script my videos. I get to talk and communicate to you in the way that I want to. I get to delete sentences that don't make sense, or maybe I said something and I'm like, ooh, foot and mouth, delete that. And curating lives and curating our presence and our image goes far beyond day in the life vlogs. And I want to give you an example of something that I saw recently. So I started watching this content creator in the late summer, probably around August, and they make content around health scams and, health gurus. I found their video when they were talking about AG1 and talking about a lot of the problems of the supplement. I watched a bunch of their videos after that because I'm not really in the health space. Like, I don't watch any real health channels or like the biohacking people. That's not content I consume. I only watch 2 doctors on occasion. After watching some of his videos, I saw that he was on the Dr. Mike podcast. So I was like, oh, I like both of these guys. This is going to be a great conversation. So I watched the whole episode and was within like maybe 20 or 30 minutes where I got a completely different vibe from this guy than what I had seen from his channel. He seemed a bit narcissistic. He seemed really interested in proving how smart he was to the audience and to Dr. Mike. He was making super petty corrections that were not necessary at all. There was one that was particularly gross, which I'm not going to talk about here. He seemed much more interested in attacking people's personalities and attacking the people he was criticizing themselves, opposed to criticizing the science or the impact on an audience or a consumer. And so a lot of his attacks felt very personal. And I found him extremely unlikable after watching this interview because I got to see what he looks like when he's not editing himself, when he's not having perfectly curated, scripted videos. He came across completely differently when he wasn't editing his videos, when he wasn't perfectly scripted, when he wasn't able to cut out segments and things like that, and when somebody else was doing it. And I don't think Dr. Mike or anybody on his team did him dirty because he did comment on the podcast saying that he had a great time, it was a good experience. And I think given his work, and this is a bit of an assumption, but I feel like he would have said something if he felt like he was portrayed unfairly. This is a different example, but to me, it really illustrates how much control people have on their image, their likeness, and how they're portrayed on social. This is magnified tenfold when it comes to people who are trying to be more lifestyle influencers, where we are trying to influence people's purchasing choices and habits. Both can be slippery for sure, but I think when it comes to comparison aspects, I think it's stronger in the lifestyle world. We're comparing our lives to somebody who is not showing us their life with accuracy. And we assume a lot, including that our own understanding and portrayal of their life is accurate. It is within the realm of possibilities that this particular influencer could not afford the stuff that she was buying, that she was in debt in some way as well. I don't know that for certainty, so I don't want to say, yes, that's why she did it. It could have also been that she started off small, like I had mentioned, and kind of gradually worked her way up, and she did it because she could. I am mentioning this because I think a lot of people felt a sense of outrage or a betrayal that she was portraying something fake, and there was a lot of assumptions about debt going on out there. We don't know that. We don't know that she was in debt or was having financial troubles, but what we can say, what I think is fair to say, is that the presentation of her life mattered so much that she went to extreme lengths in order to maintain that presentation. Something similar happens with the hauls in the Shop With Me's, where we either don't see the person check out, we just see them shopping, or they check out and they show the back of a receipt that implies that they bought something, which we don't know that they did. They could have put in 20 things into their cart, but then checked out with 3. And this to me is one of the things that I dislike a lot about influencers, is that they insist or continue to influence regardless of their own personal circumstance. And, I've had people make comments on I think the Target video that I made a couple weeks ago, standing out a lot, because I got a lot of these comments on that video of like, she's not checking out, she's not buying it, like eye roll. And I think part of that is to say that like they didn't do it, like she doesn't have a shopping problem, or this isn't problematic because she didn't buy the stuff. But that is a problem, where we will continue to influence people to take actions that we ourselves wouldn't or are not taking. That is still influence. Whether or not these Target people buy the stuff in their carts, they are still influencing people. They're still making their lives look aesthetic. They're still promoting overconsumption and shopping as normal and desirable and aesthetic. They still have that influence even when they're not doing the shopping. So even if Marlena, even if she could not afford it and she was going into debt, it's a bit irrelevant because her influence is still the same. I think people care because it shows a level of deception or dishonesty, and people they trust somebody less who is lying to them. So I understand it from that component, and it does feel like maybe extra gross that somebody would deceive their audience. So like, I'm not saying don't care at all, but what I think this is a reminder of is that her and her financial circumstance is a little bit irrelevant if she influences you to buy, because nobody bears the financial responsibility or the consequences of your actions except for you and potentially people in your like immediate circle. Like your spouse might, your mom might if you're borrowing money, like those kinds of things. And this is also why I talk about influencers influencing all the time on this channel, and that personal financial choices are irrelevant. These are not private choices that she's making. They are public choices when they have public influence. And to extrapolate on that, it's not really about how much money she's spending or even how much money she has. It's about her capacity to influence other people via her portrayals. I care about how influencers influence and how they portray their lives when they're doing things that try to get you to spend money or try to influence you in certain ways, try to get you to emulate their life or aspire to be them. All of that matters because of the capacity to influence the audience. And I'm going to say it again because it's a great reminder that other people do not bear the financial consequences of our actions except for us. Now, after this happened, after the situation happened, she deleted her socials, and then she came back, and she came back with her comments turned off, and she's made 2 videos, which I'm going to share with you now.
Get ready with me to talk about the elephant in the room.
So in that video, she says, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and then proceeds to not talk about it. She has a long caption, which I'll read to you in a second. The second video is a very short one. So this was posted 3 days ago. The second video was posted 2 days ago, and here it is.
I just don't have the energy for this. I am unsubscribing from this drama.
So that was an audio from Kim Kardashian saying, I'm unsubscribing from this drama. And then the caption of her first video, here's what it says because it's long. All jokes aside, guys, this is the Get Ready With Me video. All jokes aside, guys, just know my team is managing the situation and everything is okay. My kids, my family, my home are all okay. Despite the unfortunate situation that's unfolded, your continued love and support means everything to me. While there will be a time to discuss my wrongings, I'm going to assume she meant wrongdoings. Now is not the moment. It doesn't mean I don't want to speak on it or take accountability for my actions. It means everything is still being dealt with in court, so I just ask to please respect that. I also want to be clear that this does not define who I am, and it doesn't reflect the person I strive to be. I do believe that we all make mistakes, and it's how we learn and grow from them that matters. I'm committed to doing better, not just for myself, but for my family and all of you who have supported me. Moving forward, I hope to continue sharing my life on here with you. all my ups, downs, and the lessons I've learned along the way through all of this. That being said, for those of you who do still choose to support me, I want you to know that I appreciate you during this time, and it truly means the world to me and hasn't gone unnoticed. She's gained about 100,000 subscribers or followers over this instance, and it really feels like she's posting for clout. Like she's using this situation to her advantage. She says that like everything is okay, my family's okay, my home's okay. To me, she's acting like somebody might if there was like a tragedy in their life, like their house burns down, somebody dies, like a car accident, something like that. Ma'am, you stole, you got caught. This is not a personal tragedy. This is consequence to your action. She also calls it the unfortunate situation that's unfolded. You mean your theft and subsequent arrest, avoiding it. And she says that there might be time to discuss her wrongdoings, but now is not the time. Get off socials. Get off social media. If you need to spend time with your family, if you need to like get it together, like if you are processing it, you do not need to be on social media, which indicates to me, like, this is why I think she's not actually taking this seriously or taking accountability. There is no I'm sorry. She's acting like something bad has happened to her and like, thank you for supporting me through this difficult time. I'm not expecting her to talk openly or candidly about her trial if there's ongoing legal issues. That is not my expectation, but I was not expecting a get ready with me to clickbait us into watching, to take advantage of her, like the increased searching of her name. To me, making content to capitalize on this. And I was thinking for like a second, you know what? Maybe this is a little bit more complicated than I thought. Maybe there's shopping addiction happening. Maybe there's kleptomania. Maybe there's something else. And I was trying to like reserve some judgment. But this is a choice. To post videos and like making jokes of it while also trying to imply that you're taking it seriously, like what you are saying and what you are doing, those are two different things. To me, she's more concerned about her reputation and how this affects her following than actually taking accountability. So what can we actually take away from this? And for me, the takeaway is not don't steal, because she knew it was wrong. We know it's wrong. Like, we can do better than that. The takeaway to me also isn't unsubscribe from her, because that makes this all about her, which I think if we focus on that, then it becomes a limited scope. It becomes about like one highly specific thing that may or may not apply to you. And the answer is relatively simple. And I think that we can have more like a broader takeaway that applies to you or has a level of application, even if you've never heard of her before. I think the number one clearest takeaway that many of you who know the story have taken away as well is that social media is not reality. And this is, I said it earlier and I'll say it again, this is real-time evidence. This is a clear-cut example, not some theorizing or speculating or some deep level of knowledge. This is a clear example of reality not matching up to what we're seeing. And I also think that this is a time where we can consider who we want to be consuming content from and how we want to be influenced. Even if she didn't steal, it seems, and again, we have evidence to suggest that people will sell us things regardless of their personal circumstance. I personally do not wish her harm at all. I really hope that she uses this situation to think about her influence on her audience. In my opinion, a creator's audience matters a lot, in most cases, more than the creator themselves. And I think a lot of creators come to their content and come to their influence selfishly, thinking about what they can gain out of it, all the money that they can gain from sponsorships and affiliate links, and from posting content online, and they prioritize that over the health, well-being of their audience, as well as the influence that they have on our audience. This is the time to think about that and who we are watching. If you don't watch her, fine. Think about who else you're watching and if you believe that the creators you're watching have your best interest in mind, or if they are prioritizing stuff and money over you. In this example, what her post-arrest TikToks show me is that nothing has really changed, and she's more concerned about the damage this did to her reputation and her ability to influence than taking accountability and thinking about how she wants to influence other people. I'm also personally taking this as a reminder that appearances and stuff may matter, but they are not going to matter more than reality. They are not going to matter more than my budget or more than my partner. Stuff is just stuff. And I do not want to get to a place in life, or go back to a place in life, I should say, where I put stuff above and beyond a lot of things. I put stuff over things like my family, my happiness, or personal contentment, and stuff was the most important thing. And this is my reminder that stuff is not this important. Stuff is not important to lie and steal over. Stuff, even if you would never consider lying or stealing over stuff, I think there are maybe other ways we have prioritized stuff over other things that matter, like our budgets and our money, our financial health, our future goals, things like that. That is a little bit more relatable to me personally. That's what I choose to take away from this. And I've been humbled recently by some personal offline experiences, not with money, but things happening in like events, circumstances happening to myself or other people that really were a reminder that stuff is not the most important thing in my life. The people are. Here is what I would like us to do in the comments. If you will indulge me, I'd like you to share something that happened over the last 30 days. Something that you enjoyed more than stuff. I would love to hear it in the comments. So thank you so much for watching and being here. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you again around here soon for another day of Vlogmas. Bye.